So bit of a sad start to today's video. One of my lights broke. God, I shouldn't look into that. That was a bad idea. Holy hell. So, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to Unit Lost. I am Stylosa, and yeah, I think we need to discuss what's going on with the patch that's just hit the game. So obviously, it's the Doomfist patch, yeah? I went over in yesterday's video all of the new features that were being added to the game. Not necessarily buffs to characters, but new features. Obviously, Doomfist hit the game, yeah? We had the highlight system, and all of that jazz has been added to the game. However, there have been a number of changes to characters. Now, we've covered these in the past, but what I'd like to do in this video is go over them in detail and discuss how this is, ladies and gentlemen, is going to change the meta. And is it going to change the meta for the best? Or for the better, I don't know, but it's definitely going to have an impact. So, the first thing we need to look at is McCree. Now, what we've got here to read the patch notes off is McCree's flashbang stun targets are now slowed heavily, meaning they're less likely to escape while stunned. Okay, what this means is that if you've got your McCree here and your Lucio here, and your Lucio is wall riding like this, McCree throws his flashbang at him. Before the patch, he would carry on moving, right? The flashbang would hit him, and he'd keep moving, right? Now, it hits him, he stops dead, and you can kill him. It's much easier for a McCree to kill moving targets, like dashing Genjis, like a Doomfist charging at you, and all of that stuff, right? So it is a buff to McCree, but it's only a teeny little buff, because McCree's a very delicate hero. If you buff this hero too much, he breaks the game. So they have to be very slow with what they do with McCree. But being very slow is McCree's main problem. That's why he's not really used that much in the game, because the current meta is generally dive. Now, I know dive doesn't get played in every single game of Overwatch, but typically faster moving heroes like your Winstons, your Tracers, your Genjis, or whatever are being played. And when they dive on top of McCree, McCree's major weakness is he is the most diveable DPS in the game. And what I mean by that is he cannot escape. McCree, he walks around, doesn't he? He's got a roll, but that doesn't really get him out of danger. And so McCree's still going to suffer from the same issues. However, why do I think this is quite big? Well, it means McCree now is a more viable option for dealing with Tracers and dealing with Genjis and people like that. So it is a buff against McCree's... It's a buff for McCree against his direct counters, which... Well, not his direct counters, but against the people he should be countering, right? So that is a good move by Blizzard. And, well, I like that, so that's good. And also, I play a lot of McCree, so I'm probably going to be a bit biased and say, yeah, you know, I do like that. Good change, Blizzard. And now this one is absolutely huge. This is humongous beyond all belief. This is Zarya. Now, I went over this change before, as I said, and I said this is probably a huge change. Probably, I think like a bird just flew past my window. What the? Probably like it was either a bird or there is, hang on a minute, or there is literally somebody outside my window. What is going on? I don't know. Apparently, it must have been a bird. Anyway, Zarya, yeah. So, I said before this is going to be a huge game-changing thing. This is massive. I can't stress how massive this is. So this is what it is, guys. Graviton Surge now disables mobility abilities on all affected targets. The developer's comment on this is, in the past, the abilities that allowed heroes to escape Zarya's Graviton Surge felt fairly arbitrary. We're cleaning this up and increasing Graviton Surge's overall power by rendering all movement abilities unusable when an enemy is trapped. This is a massive anti-dive buff. Zarya doesn't get used in dive comps because everybody dies too quick. You know, there's no chance for Zarya to build up charge. There's no slow progressive pushes. There's not enough tanks for maybe Zarya to put bubbles on. There's a lot of issues, right? But now what they're saying is actually Zarya's ultimate will just completely counter dive completely, utterly and completely. Winston, Tracer, Genji, insert anybody else with movement abilities who could escape it. Sombra. Nobody can escape this anymore. They are in it, and then they die. So this is a powerful tool. Now, why is this a bit more powerful than I think it actually... Well, I've actually explained. Well, Doomfist, ladies and gentlemen. Because I think Zarya and Doomfist is a goddamn match made in absolute heaven. Those two heroes, the synergy of them is fantastic. So I think we're going to be seeing a lot of Zarya and a lot of Doomfist combos, potentially. Now, the reason why they work so well together is, I mean, just look at their ultimates for a start. Graviton Surge grabs everybody. Nobody can escape this. Doomfist's ultimate, Meteor Strike, well, he can just Meteor Strike on top of Graviton, and it'll kill everybody in Graviton, basically. It does a ton of damage. It is phenomenal. It is pretty much a guaranteed team wipe. But beyond that, look at the way their abilities synergize up. So look at Zarya's projected bubble. She puts that onto Doomfist while he's doing work. Doomfist is going to do some work. Think about the way Doomfist passive works as well. So when Doomfist hits targets with his abilities, note this is just his abilities, not actually his primary fire or his melee, he gains a small shield. So when he's got Zarya's bubble on him, that protects him, that gives charge back to Zarya. When he uses his abilities to do damage to the enemy, he gives himself a shield as well. So he can actually charge his shield up while he's bubbled with Zarya. It's just an unparalleled amount of synergy, even to the point of, I think, right, guys, if you've got a good Doomfist player on your team and you're a Zarya player, or you maybe got a friend who plays Zarya and you want to learn Doomfist, play those two together. That is a massively... I just can see loads of crazy things being done with them. They're insane. They're like I said, they're like a match made in heaven. They work so well together. Obviously, Doomfist is still a difficult hero to play. Very high skill cap. You need to know when to go in, when to go out, because he's not just some ultra tank who can dive in and do whatever he likes. Anyway, let's move on. There was a post as well by Scott Mercer which clarifies the update to the capture point mechanic. Now, this was a little bit baffling when I first read this. I'm like, hang on, what do they mean by this? But this is what Scott says on the forums. I won't read all of this post off, but I'll read the first two paragraphs because this will allow me to explain what this means. So, Scott Mercer says this: there was an existing system that slowly increased the defender's respawn time in the case where there are more attackers than defenders on an objective for 30 seconds. The defender's respawn timer then increased in a linear fashion up to a maximum when the attackers held an advantage for 90 seconds. We simply retuned the timing so that the increased defender's respawn timer starts after 15 seconds of attacker advantage. It also reaches the maximum possible increase of defender respawn at 75 seconds. So, what this means is, they actually changed this a while ago, yeah? So, when you wipe people off the point, so if you're the attacking team, you wipe all of the defenders off the point, yeah? If you control the point for 30 seconds, the defenders then respawn really slow, so you should be able to capture. Now, think about how long 30 seconds is in terms of Overwatch. That is an absolute eternity. So it's kind of a bit cautious on Blizzard's part. However, what they've done now is half that down. Actually, what will happen is, if you control the point for 15 seconds, which I think is much more reasonable. Hell, I think 10 seconds would be, like, reasonable. Because think of the way 2CP works, right? You knock them all off the point, right? You've killed their whole team. They shouldn't be able to come back on the point and then just keep it contested over and over again, hoping that they kill one of your team because then they've got a major advantage. We've all been there, guys. We've all been on both sides of the coin as well. We've been the ones stalling. We've been the ones getting, you know, really sort of peed off by the fact that, well, we're getting stalled out. This change, though, means that if you control the point for 15 seconds, then they'll start experiencing increased respawn timers as a defender. So that's great, because this means 2CP, you should be able to capture both points easier now, because, like I said, we've all been there, right? You go in, you have a massive, devastating fight, you invest loads of ultimates, you wipe the enemy off the point, you should win at that point, pretty much. But generally, they'd have a chance to come in. Maybe the Mercy's in the spawn and she's waiting to come out with res. You know, there's a load of different ways. Maybe people are swapping to May or to Diva. You know, well, you probably have a Diva in your team anyway. But they're starting to, like, stall, right? And that's not great. So this is a good change, and this actually will affect the meta, I think, in a little bit of an interesting way, because it means that snowballing becomes kind of more effective, and it might actually change some of the team comps that are being used, and it might actually make people reserve their ultimates a little bit more. Now, at the higher levels of the game, people generally do, you know, they're more conservative with their ultimates. If they capture the first point on Volskaya, they will say, right, guys, let's just charge up our ultimates and go for a massive ultimate push, which you can do, and generally you should win. Now you probably will win a little bit more. So I think that's a good change, Blizzard. Nice one. So let's go over a couple of other changes as well. So Diva and Genji both have voice lines now for when they either deflect or eat a enemy ultimate, which is good, because sometimes you wouldn't really know that they've done it. So I think that's just a great quality of life change. I still think Diva needs something a little bit different for Defense Matrix. Like, I'd like it if a mech flashed maybe or something when Defense Matrix was getting lower, or maybe the Defense Matrix itself sort of flashed or started blinking out or something, so you could kind of say, oh, a Defense Matrix is running out, maybe I could now use my, I don't know, my Tac Visor or my High Noon or something. That might be interesting. It might make it a bit too easy to play around Diva, so I don't know. But anyway, there are some other changes as well. So we've got Reaper, a shadow step, sound effect and voiceover distance has been reduced by 50%. So again, I covered this in the previous video, but basically what this means is Reaper can use Shadow Step a little bit more now. Still think it's a bit of a junk ability because it's so obvious when he's doing it. Like, if you catch the actual animation of, like, the flames and he sort of rises out of the shadows, or, well, I guess the shadows, not flames, you can generally just kill him with a headshot. But yeah, this is a good change because it means that you can sneak around a little bit more, so you might get more surprise Reapers because you can kind of get 50% sort of closer to you, I guess, and you won't actually know that the Reaper's behind you. So it's cool, and it does give him more flanking options. Reinhardt has been fixed. Now, Reinhardt had a load of issues. Basically a culmination of a ton of different changes to the way the game or code updates and things like that to the game resulted in Reinhardt having loads of issues, and Reinhardt is basically the most buggy character right now in the game. So they've actually gone in and done a few fixes to him. So they've increased the swing speed of his hammer by 10%. Again, I've covered this in a previous video. It's not necessarily a massive buff to Reinhardt. Makes him feel better because, oh god, sorry microphone. Makes him feel better because he's swinging around a little bit more fluidly. Gives him a little bit more DPS when people dive on top of him, but it's not like a huge sort of change. And the developer comments on this are, in the last update, Reinhardt's rocket hammer had an issue that allowed players with higher latency to swing faster. We fixed this bug, which suddenly made the swing speed feel real slow. So we're compensating by increasing the standard swing speed. During this process, we also found and fixed a few bugs with rocket hammer's hit registration. Overall, the hammer should feel much better. And also, there is a bit of a hidden change to Reinhardt. They fixed his fire strike hitbox as well, which they haven't basically put in the patch notes, which I've noticed for a while. Actually, they're not putting much. These patch notes used to be quite comprehensive, but now they seem to miss a lot of stuff out, which is kind of well, it's annoying for me because I read the patch notes, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, so there you go, guys. It's a very interesting time for Overwatch. We've got Doomfist coming in, who I think is probably going to enable more tank play, but also Doomfist is very strong against dive comp because he can just take out Winston when he dives in, and also he can deal with pretty much anybody diving on top of him. He can either dive into them or he can escape himself, or he can be part of dive comp himself. Maybe you could swap out the soldier, swap out the Genji or something. I don't know. Doomfist is very flexible as a character. He's very high skill caps. It's going to take a lot of time for the community to work out sort of how to play him. I'm really looking forward to playing him in competitive. Like I've said, I've teased this in a couple of videos, but what I'm going to do is play on my State Bake account and try and play as much Doomfist as I can, obviously being flexible within reason, and seeing where I can actually get him to on the ladder, because I think he's really strong. And like I said, I think Zarya Doomfist combo is going to be absolutely ridiculous. So I do think we might maybe see a little decline in dive. I don't think it's going to be too much of a decline. It's not like dive comp's going to go just completely the way of the dodo. I think it's going to be a different style of dive, but I think it also enables other heroes. So if Doomfist's presence brings back more tanky characters, that in turn means people like Anna can come back into the game, and we can start seeing other tactics starting to be developed. Very interesting time for Overwatch again, guys. And of course, remember all the PTR buffs which are going to come out soon to Junkrat, Roadhog, and probably other characters as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see those. Let me know, guys, what you think about this update in the comments below. Have you been playing Doomfist? Do you even like Doomfist? What do you think about the state of Overwatch right now? I think these are steps in the right direction. I think there are other issues with competitive and stuff which hopefully will get solved over time. But yeah, all right, guys. I've been Stylosa. This is Unit Lost. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you did, like the video, subscribe to the channel. You can follow me on Twitter, which is @UnitLostGaming, and I will catch you on the next one, because I'm off to go and buy a new light, because my light's like on the floor now because I've sort of snapped it. Catch you next time, guys. Toodaloo.